Sometimes I think we misunderstand in the science of mind, and we think that we have to be so positive that we're not allowed to have negative feelings. We are actually allowed to have negative feelings. Actually, feelings themselves aren't negative or positive. They're simply feelings. And what we are supposed to do with our feelings, took me the longest time to figure this out, to learn this. What you're supposed to do with your feelings is feel them. Really, that's it.
I'm so glad you joined us today. That makes you a part of CSL Dallas, and we love that our community continues to grow. And we also love to give great spiritual content. And a way that you can participate in our community is financially give to it. It's easy to do so. Go to CSLDallas.org and hit the give button. Or you can set up a text giving mechanism at 972-954-4404, a safe and secure way to send us money whenever you watch a great message like this. So thanks for giving, and buckle up, because here comes the spiritual content.
Holidays are about family and about getting together. Sometimes that's easy, and sometimes that's not so easy. Some of you have had lovely Thanksgiving experiences, and some of you maybe not so much. And maybe this year was better than last year, or the year before, or in our childhood. The holidays can bring up all kinds of issues and challenges. And yet it is in the circle of our community and in the experience of the divine presence that we can move through that. So Lainey's going to set the stage, set the tone, and bring us into that sacred circle.
Ever felt that hope was almost gone, and you didn't have the strength to carry on? It's times like these we know that we are rocked in the arms, rocked in the arms, rocked in the arms of God. Rocked in the arms, rocked in the arms, rocked in the arms of God.
Thank you, Lainey Bernstein. Rocked in the arms of God, rocked in the arms of the divine presence. I think that's so much of what we want to experience in the holidays, rocked in the arms of our families, of our loved ones. I don't know about you, but that was a kind of a hit or miss experience for me in my childhood. I had a father and a sister who were reasonably volatile in many different ways, and I never quite knew what was going to set my dad off. And inevitably, it was in the midst of something really lovely and wonderful. Getting ready for the holidays, sitting around at a Sunday dinner meal, playing in the backyard. He never knew what was going to set him off. And it was always kind of an interesting thing being in our family in the holidays. Because my mother was absolutely committed to making sure that we had an amazing experience. Her mother hated the holidays, Hated everything about it. Hated Christmas, hated the Advent season, hated the all the getting ready, all the cookie baking, she did all of those things. She was a good German wife, and it was expected of her, and by God, she was going to do it. And she entertained every Sunday afternoon with the typical German coffee and with all the home-baked cookies and goodies all the holiday season, and she hated every minute of it. And therefore, her children did not necessarily have a great experience about it. My mother decided, by God, it was going to be different. It was going to be different for us. And she wanted to make magic, which in many ways she really did. So we had kind of a schizophrenic experience of the holidays. And I sought to continue on and make that magic for my son. But I also learned not to go home for the holidays. It was a choice that I learned to make as a young adult when I left the house. And I moved as far away as I could get from my family, because then it made it easier to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't come for Thanksgiving dinner. I can't come for Christmas this year. And so, yeah, there's a lot of challenge around the holidays. I lost my father in December of 1999 and my mother in November of 2006. So the run-up to the holidays is also an opportunity each year for me to feel that loss and that experience of my mother, who made it so magic, not being able to be part of it anymore. You know, and these are just the realities, right? These are the realities of the human condition and of our human experience. And so we never want to pretend in the science of mind. We don't want to pretend our joy. We don't want to cast a false idea about life. Ernest Holmes says we look the fact in the face and we deny its spiritual truth. But we do actually look the fact in the face, which also means that we feel our feelings. Sometimes I think we misunderstand in the science of mind, and we think that we have to be so positive that we're not allowed to have negative feelings. We are actually allowed to have negative feelings. Actually, feelings themselves aren't negative or positive. They're simply feelings. And what we are supposed to do with our feelings, took me the longest time to figure this out, to learn this. What you're supposed to do with your feelings is feel them. Really, that's it. That's it. That's all you have to do with your feelings. You don't have to analyze them. You don't have to figure them out. You don't have to, you just feeling them, right? Feeling our feelings is what allows them not to get stuck in our bodies. Is what allows them not to get stuck in our psyche. When we just feel the feeling, it's like a wave that crashes on the shore. It comes up and out, and it gets to be released. And sure, some of our feelings are based on false thinking, but it's not our feelings that we don't have to feel, it's our thoughts that we have to change. When our thoughts have changed, our feelings will follow. But there's a reason why we have grief and anger and depression. They are the other side of joy and love and bliss. And when joy or love or bliss are absent, these feelings, which we call negative, are simply nothing more than signposts that we are not in alignment with our joy or our experience of peace or the bliss that's available to us. The deepest experience I had of this for myself was when my mother passed away. I had a deep sense of loss and grief. It actually took me a number of years to get over that and to walk through that and to deal with feeling my feelings of grief. But what was so amazing was the joy that I had in the midst of all that grief, that my mother had been my mother, that I had her as my mother. And the things that we had done as when I was a kid, and her experience of getting to be part of my son's life. And so the deep joy, which is the truth of our being, is available and present even in the midst of grief and sorrow. Ernest Holmes says grief is natural. It's a natural part of experiencing the loss of a loved one. But our spiritual truth robs our grief of despair because we actually know the spiritual truth. And so we can feel our feelings without worrying about them overwhelming us, which I know for many years I felt. I thought if I just felt my sorrow or my anger from my childhood, it would, what's the word I want? It would, say that again? It wouldn't subside. It would, if I felt those feelings, it would wash me away in a river of feelings and I would never recover, was what I thought. And so, right, we stuff them, we pretend they're not there, we cover them up with our positivity, and all we do is embed them into our cellular memory and into the body and into the underground experience, right, which just means they come out sideways. And so learning to just feel the feelings without necessarily expressing them inappropriately, but just allowing myself to feel the feelings, I learned that, no, they come and go. Feelings come and go. Truth is always truth. And so so the other thing that is just, it's sometimes really astonishing to me, well, I want to shake my finger at people and scold them, which I know I'm not supposed to do. And that is how many times people don't come to CSLDallas, they don't avail themselves of a Sunday morning experience because they're feeling pain or grief or they're sick. And they think, oh, well, I have to go there and be positive, and I don't want to feel that. And so they stay away. Maybe that's not you in this room, and maybe it is. And yet it's my experience that that's exactly when I need to be rocked in the arms of love, right? When I'm feeling like my life isn't working, or I feel as though I'm really experiencing loss or darkness. I want to be reminded that even though I may be feeling those things, they're actually not the spiritual truth. And it's only when I cling to my feelings and I want to make my feelings true, do you see, that I want to avoid being lifted by the spiritual truth. And then I resist that which wants to rock me in its arms, whether that's the love of the divine, whether that's the experience of community, whether that's the friend who wants to hold my hand or talk with me. And so, so we don't want to come to the holidays and get all overwhelmed with the glitz and the parties and the doing and the stuff, and not honor and acknowledge that sometimes that there are things going on that we're carrying into the holidays. For some of us, it's situational. It's this year or last year. We've lost a loved one. We've had a breakup. We're not in the same home. We've lost a job. Different things have changed. And sometimes it's a lifetime of being challenged by the holidays. And so we want to just be with that today, acknowledge that, and allow ourselves to feel our feelings in the container of love. The container of love, which is the divine presence. The container of love, which is this community. And when we can experience that, do you see, then our pain or our darkness is robbed of despair because we know we're not alone. We know that the feelings wash over us, they come and they go, and we know that we can stand in the spiritual truth together. So we're going to move into that ritual. Karen's going to come on up here with me. And so you'll see that we have 7 candles up here. We're going to light 7 candles, and Karen and I, as we light the candles, will be telling you what the candles are for. And then whichever candle moves you, you'll come up and grab a candle out of the basket and light your candle from the one that's been lit, and then we'll just move out into around the sanctuary. We have 5 candles for different things, and so you can see which one speaks to you. The first one will be honoring people who have perished in war or in service as first responders. The second one is for people that have made their transition, that we've personally lost in this past year or sometime in the past that still is heavy in our hearts at the holidays. The third one will be about being separated from family by choice or by distance and finances, not being able to be home for the holidays or to be with our loved ones. The fourth one is when we are acknowledging that we have loss or pain from divorce, separation, mental illness, betrayal, anything that has really separated us from a loved one. The fifth one is to acknowledge the loss of job, financial security, a home, when our faith has been tested. And then we turn to the sixth candle in gratitude for the family and friends that we do have. If you're not experiencing any of these opportunities or these experiences of grief and loss in the holiday season, you might want to light a candle in gratitude for the family and friends that you do have. And then finally, the seventh candle will light a candle for being a bringer of light into whatever darkness people might be experiencing during this time. And so you can just feel as they're being moved, as we're moving through them, which one speaks to you. And come up here and light your candle as a way of just allowing us to be honest about the human condition, the human emotion, the human feeling, and recognizing that we can honor and acknowledge that. We can feel our feelings while still knowing the spiritual truth. And so the light represents the spiritual truth that we know while we are completely clear that we're having a human experience. All right. So the first candle will light. We're going to light this candle for any one of our families or people that we know of or love that have lost their lives in war or as a first responder or have been significantly impacted by being in the military, in service as a first responder, or we just want to hold into our hearts those people in general that have lost their lives in war. Or in tragedy of that nature. People who have lost their lives in shootings, bombings, places around the planet, or those that have personally touched us. So if this is something that you feel weighs heavily on your heart today or in this holiday season, I'm simply going to invite you to come up here and take a candle and light that candle in honor and in memory of those people. And we're going to ask you, Georgianne, to just stand right over here. We're going to start a line over there and a line over there. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's start with that one over there. Excuse me.
So we light the second candle this morning for anyone that we have personally lost who has transitioned this year or in the past years where it's still weighing heavy on you. Those that are no longer with us physically, those that we no longer can hug and be with. So we hold these loved ones in our hearts, family members, friends, close associations. We light the second candle for someone that we have lost and can no longer be with. We invite you to come up and light a candle.
Mm-hmm. And please say as you light the candle, say the name of the person.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Say the name of the person, yes. And then if you'll start here, Ronnie, and then we'll.
And so the third candle will light for those of us who can't be with our family. whether by choice or by distance and finances. If your family lives someplace else and you are unable to celebrate the holiday season with them, and that weighs heavily on your heart, now would be the time to come and light a candle and acknowledge those people in your heart. Just stand right over there.
We light the fourth candle for the pain, for the sadness, for the loss, for the grieving of those that we have lost or have been separated due to divorce, separation, anything that has caused us to not be with those loved ones, and yet they are still here. We light the fourth candle and hold these beloveds in our hearts and ourselves. We invite you at this moment to come up and to light a candle if you feel so moved.
Fifth candle is to acknowledge that there are many kinds of losses, not just the loss of people in our life, but also the loss of faith, when our faith is tested, when we've lost a job or financial security or home or something that has caused the joy of our holidays to be diminished. And if this is something that is challenging you this holiday season, we just want to acknowledge that by lighting a candle in acknowledgement for these kinds of losses and challenges.
We light the sixth candle in gratitude for the family and friends that we do have here today. Those who are your family and friends and still chosen and are still with us. We light a candle in celebration for those connections that we do have. We hold those connections in our heart as we light the sixth candle.
Yeah, just go right on down that aisle. And so the last candle we light, we'll notice that as we've lit all these candles that, about half our circle was for grief and loss. Some of us have been standing up here long enough. We need a second candle. Right? And then the second half of the circle is for the joy, the good, the love that we have in our lives. And the final candle, if you choose to come up, is in honor of the faith and the gift of hope and love that the holiday season offers us, that we affirm that we are bringers of light in the midst of darkness. In gratitude, we stand with all of those who work tirelessly for peace, justice, and a healthy future. And so as we light this last candle, the seventh candle, if you would like to come up and light your candle, to stand as a light worker or to stand in witness for all those who are doing that work in the world, please come forward and light your candle from the seventh candle. we're going to just invite you guys, when you've lit it, just come right up here onto the platform, because our circle just needs to be completed up here. From the burning of the candles, right? Sometimes the feelings are long and full and rich and intense. But we've completed our circle. We have our circle of love here, our container. This circle represents the unbroken circle of life itself, that we are forever standing in this circle. And so if you look around the circle and see those that stand with you in witness to your loss, to your grief, to your joy, to see that we're always rocked in the arms of a circle of love. We can't get outside of God. There's no place where the divine doesn't exist. There's no situation in which spirit isn't present. And it is this light that we hold on to. Not to not feel our feelings, but to know that that's where we stand, in the midst of it. And we know that there's a whole host of people who, in this particular moment, are not in pain. So we have people with whom we can share our loss and grief, and they can stand with us in that. And someday soon, it'll be reverse. It'll be our turn to stand with them. And this is what it means to belong. To belong in your life, to belong to community, to belong to the divine. And when we know this truth, we can love ourselves through it, in spite of it, and as we move through this holiday season. So Lainey's going to sing us a song. I'm going to hold your candle for you, if I may. Okay, I'm going to hold your candle for you. And we have a piano player. And Lainey's going to sing us a song, and we will pray ourselves through it.
It's called Love My Spirit, written by Charity.
I know what it's like to love my spirit, to dance in the light of my truth. I know what it's like to love my spirit, to have my heart open to share with you. I've seen some trouble, I've had some pain. This heart of mine has been around in good times and bad, sunshine and rain. There's something I've always found. Under the tears, under the smiles, under the laughter and pain, there's something so pure, so sweet and so
It is this love that we share with each other. And so, I'd invite you now to blow your candle out before it burns any further down. But we know we can't burn the light out, right? The light is always there. And so let us pray. Let us know that truly, in the midst of it all, there is a light, a love, a presence, a power, an infinite one that is always the truth of our being, the truth of the being and the lives of those that we love and care about, those that we've lost, those that we're separated from for whatever reasons. And we simply acknowledge at this moment that within the human condition there is the deep and profound grace that is the love that we share with each other. That is the truth of our souls, that which lies between our hearts. Let us know in this moment that we don't walk through these holidays alone. That we are loved, that we are lifted, and that our lives are lit by life itself. And so I invite us to breathe. Let's take a breath. And it is in this deep truth that we love our spirit. We love our human experience, and we love the light that we are. We love the humanity in each other, and we love the light that we see. And so in blessing and acknowledgement and in truth, we simply let it be, saying together, and so it is.